He had a heart attack while doing his stand-up comedy bits.
But he didn't realize it. Like,
Yeah, he went to the hospital the next day. Thank God it saved his life.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, famous for Clerks and Jay and Silent Bob, Dogma. Recently directed episodes of Flash and Supergirl. Written runs on Green Arrow and Daredevil. So a big genre guy. One of us lah.
one of us.
One of us. So it always sucks when this happens to one of us.
So speedy recovery, but
Yeah. We also had to shout out the 2 Singaporeans who were nominated for the Nebula Awards.
Represent.
Yes. The Nebula
first ever, right?
First ever Singaporeans ever nominated for Nebula Awards.
You get 2 at one time.
Yeah, continuing on from Singapore's success last year when Charlie Chan Hock Chye was nominated for the
Eisners.
No, not nominated. They won.
He won the
Eisners.
Eisners.
Yeah.
God damn it! Like several in the Eisner
Yeah.
Awards, right?
Yep.
There you go.
So take that, NAC. The 2 Singaporeans won, or not won lah. We hope they win. But they're nominated for Best Novella and Best Novelettes. Would you like to elaborate what a novelette is?
Okay. So a novelette is 7,500 words to 17,500 words.
Yeah.
And a novella
It's a short
is
novel.
17,500 to 40,000 words. A short novel, yeah.
Mm.
There you go. Woo! Got the numbers right.
Hadi just Wikipedia that, so I'm glad that he remembered. So congrats to J.Y. Yang and Veena Prasad, you know. They were nominated by the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, so clearly no bias towards Singapore at all. This is a big deal. It's the highest awards in sci-fi and fantasy outside of the Hugo Awards.
Yep.
As we were making the analogy earlier on, this is sort of like the Golden Globes to the Oscar, the Hugos to the Oscars.
I think it's more like the BAFTAs.
BAFTAs.
To the
Yeah.
BAFTAs to the
Put it that
Oscars.
way.
Yeah, the Golden Globes can be bought.
Yeah, exactly.
They clearly are most of the time. Yang was shortlisted for the Black Tats of Heaven, which was published on Tor.com as part of the Tensoric series, alongside the Red Threads of Fortune. It's a silk punk kind of world, ancient influence riff on Victorian steampunk, which is very interesting. We haven't read it, but we really want to.
Yep.
Prasad himself is herself is nominated for a novelette called A Series of Stakes, about 2 women in Nanjing who forge quality beef. Strange, intriguing premises.
Very relevant.
Very relevant.
Yeah,
Watching
it is.
beef, yeah.
I guess so. Just quick shout outs for people that we are really looking forward to reading.
Yeah, and meeting one day.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see.
Oh
we'll
shit,
see.
yeah. Maybe we should try interviewing some of these local
Exactly.
writers.
Yeah.
Indeed. And maybe Kevin Smith too.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Well, I would love it if he interviews me and Fat Man on Batman, a podcast that you can't remember.
Oops, my bad.
That's alright. Let's move on to talk about the big story of the month, which is Black Panther.
Ooh, Black Panther.
Cultural blockbuster phenomenon. Let's take aside its creativity and narrative richness and triumphs there. Just on the numbers itself, box office wise, it's a huge commercial success.
Yep.
Within its first weekend, it blew past expectations.
It did.
And 242 million just domestic in America, near $500 million worldwide. Now 10 days into its release, it's at $700 million. One of the fastest MCU movies to reach that milestone.
Yeah.
And might be one of the quickest MCU movies to reach $1 billion.
Yeah.
It will join Avengers 1, Avengers Age of Ultron,
Iron Man 3.
Captain America Civil War.
Yep.
And all 4 of those are huge movies.
It is.
Not only did it break records, it broke all sorts of records.
It did.
Like previously, like Fast and Furious 7 was directed by black director F. Gary Gray from Straight Outta Compton. This nearly tripled its box office.
Yeah, man.
It doubled Deadpool's record-setting February opening. It surpassed the Justice League total run.
Total run, yeah.
What Justice League earned in 4 months, Black Panther already surpassed in 4 days. So if that isn't indicative of the groundswell of support for something fresh, a fresh perspective such as this from an underrepresented minority group, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
There is a Hollywood myth that
Black leads can't do it well internationally.
black leads, black cast, black director, black everything. And now I think it's been proven that it's a racist excuse.
It is.
And also a self-fulfilling prophecy because they say this thing and then they won't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the excuse.
I mean, you get smaller budget, you get smaller marketing budget to market your film.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they have no faith in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is what can happen when you put the full marketing power and might or Disney, for example,
Exactly.
behind it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who criticize Disney for being so white, please remember that over the last 3 years they gave us Moana and Coco as well,
Exactly.
which are very representative of minority cultures,
Yeah.
and not in a condescending way like Mulan was.
Nope.
But we have Mulan coming up as well.
Live action.
live
Live
action
action.
remake, which won't have much music.
That's good.
Really?
I mean,
of
if
all
we-
people.
I know, I love Mulan, but
Like, just so you know, Hardy's a huge Disney music fan.
I am.
Yeah,
He knows
yeah.
all the songs.
I do.
And all the words.
Yeah, but we're not gonna go through them now.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
But let's delve into Black Panther,
Yeah.
the movie. Creatively, narratively, culturally. I mean, I guess I'll kick it off first.
Go ahead.
Black Panther, I feel, isn't just MCU's best. It's like the new gold standard for superhero movies in general.
Yep.
Alongside The Dark Knight, alongside movies like Logan, like The Incredibles. I think it's right up there. Ryan Coogler, who is the director, has previously worked on smaller films like
Yep.
Creed and Fruitvale Station.
mhm.
Slowly working his way up through the ranks.
Both great films, by the way.
Also both starring Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
And just like on a side note, I've really enjoyed watching Michael B. Jordan grow as an actor.
Me too.
This is his big coming out party, but I've been following him since The Wire season 1.
Oh man.
Wallace, you know.
Remember when Wallace got shot?
Spoiler alert!
I know, but then past the statute of limitations. I guess.
Indeed,
Oh.
indeed. There's
Yeah.
the famous Wes Wallace scene from the prison. And then he played a troubled teen athlete in Friday Night
Friday
Lights.
Night Lights, yeah.
And then he teamed up with Ryan Coogler, and then his career just skyrocketed. For both of them,
For
it's
both
a,
of them, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a mutually beneficial relationship.
It's one of those muse.
And Ryan Coogler is your age.
It's 31. It's 86, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, what have I done?
What? Podcast.
I mean,
Two
yeah.
podcasts.
What? Oh! Obviously, Fruitvale Station and Creed kind of offer a perspective on the black experience
It does.
that is very organic and very just true to life, you know. And what Ryan Coogler gives to Black Panther is something that I think non-black directors cannot give lah. It delves into like the cultural and scientific richness of Wakanda, and
Yep.
that's one of the major triumphs of this movie.
Yep.
It's just like this idea of a nation of black excellence, you know, that's
Yeah.
uninterrupted by colonialism. Like you see in real life, where countries with all throughout the continent of Africa are rich in natural resources, filled with ingenious, hardworking people, but
Yeah.
they've just been stunted.
Colonialism.
White people, you know,
Yeah.
colonizers.
Yeah.
Just basically either kidnapping them or pillaging and variety of like atrocities. Yeah, exactly lah. So this is a nation of black excellence uninterrupted by that, and what progress can be lah.
Yeah.
And it's one of the like lines that stuck with me that Michael B. Jordan said was, you know, like imagine a kid from Oakland running around dreaming about fairy tales, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the big achievements of this movie is the fact that this gives a big budget spectacle fairy tale to a group that doesn't have something like that.
Doesn't.
I think white kids growing up, they have a lot of things to look up to,
They do.
even in Marvel and comic books or other sci-fi and fantasy.
Mhm.
This is something that they don't have. But to me, the film's greatest achievement is its exploration of what a country like that might mean sociopolitically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as justified as its isolationist policy is,
Yeah.
as you know, we kind of already talked about, what responsibility does Wakanda have to the African diaspora?
Yeah.
And most interestingly of all is its exploration of the relationships between African Americans and Africans.
Yeah.
Because it's very complicated and it's actually more divisive than you think it is. That's its rawest and to me most compelling angle. I mean, Black Panther has all the personal journey of a hero and identity,
Yeah.
strength, heritage, and all of that.
It does.
But it also has the deepest bench of female badasses I've ever seen in
Oh,
any movie.
yes.
Yeah, from Princess Shuri to Okoye to
Yeah. I mean, shouts out to like
Nakia.
Nakia. Shouts out to like Denai Guerrero, Michonne from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
If you don't know, Letitia Wright, who plays her testy sister Shuri,
Mhm.
who was previously on Black Museum
Black
in Black
Museum.
Mirror. Yeah, one of the more talented young British actors out there
She
as
is,
well. Her involvement in the film specifically, to me, was the bright spot.
It was.
One of the brightest spots, like
Yeah.
Mrs. Michael B. Jordan's really tragic character.
Yeah.
So I loved everything about it.
I mean- Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, like shouts out to Winston Duke also, who played M'Baku.
Yeah.
Yes.
The character most in danger of being a stereotypical African caricature.
With a name like Man Ape, which they
Which they tastefully left out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his charisma, humor, and charm kind of broached that what could have been a caricature
Yep.
and made him like a fully dimensional, fully fleshed out character.
Yeah, I did.
That was all really great I mean, I can't say enough good things about this. What do you guys think?
I mean, apart from the excellent performances, I need a little shout out to the really talented supporting cast.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, it was a great
Like
cast.
even what was Makabe's name? Makabe?
Daniel.
The one
Daniel
from Get
Kaluuya?
Out.
Yeah,
Daniel
Daniel
Kaluuya,
Kaluuya,
yes.
Yeah.
So
Zuri, who's played by
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett, who played the mom. Right?
Angela Bassett looks amazing.
She was so great.
Who looks like Storm, you know?
Yeah,
She
was
with
so
the
legend.
great like white dreadlocks. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
very
she
cool.
was so amazing.
I wish I gotten more to do,
Yeah,
but
me too.
she did look spectacular.
She did.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the whole diversity thing, the whole Wakanda being a technological marvel,
Mhm.
and all these many things that was different that we've never seen unless we've read the comics.
Yeah,
One of the other things I felt was really important was the lack of tokenism that you have your black characters. I mean, you can't have that. War Machine is kind of a token guy. Right? Falcon was kind
usually
of
black characters are kind of defined by what they do with or for the white characters.
Exactly.
War Machine, Falcon, as you mentioned. Yeah.
And this time you didn't have that, which I thought was very refreshing.
In fact, it was tokenism this time with Andy Serkis and
And Michael as we all know, Golem and Frodo.
Yeah.
lah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Bilbo.
Bilbo,
Yeah, it's
yes.
these two white characters who, in turn, subversively are defined by their reactions to the black protagonist in this film, or the
Yeah.
black antagonist in Michael B. Jordan's case.
Which was fun to watch, I felt.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
really fun. And speaking to your point about the technological advancements of Wakanda, just the set design and and everything was so fantastic because it isn't like this Anglo-Saxon vision of the future which we see in stuff like Blade Runner or any other versions of sci-fi.
More of an Afrofuturism kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes Afrofuturism can just be like this catchphrase, but they really put a lot of thought and care into designing everything from the weapons to the sets. To the traditional blankets that they use as shields, which are put up as like this fossil shields.
I mean, everything, even from the dialect they're using in the Kosa language, right, was
It's so well thought out.
I mean,
so
it
detailed.
started in Civil War. T'Chaka, right?
Yeah, his father.
His father, he's a South African actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So they developed the language from there.
So his interaction with T'Challa was supposed to be in English, but T'Chaka said, "Wait, why are we doing this in English? I'm talking to my son, right?"
Correct.
Yeah. So he said it should be in a dialect, it should be in their mother tongue.
Yeah.
So that's why the Kosa language came about, and then he became the
the inspiration.
the inspiration and also the linguistics expert that they consulted
Yeah. For the
and we
entire
saw a lot more in this film
They even had specific dialects for each of the tribes.
It's a regional accent.
Yeah, regional accents,
yeah.
which was really
mind blowing. The details that we would not know, but
that we would gloss over.
that,
But
people from Africa, I mean, would have noticed that and would, I think, appreciate that.
I think from the reception, the rapturous reception that it had across Africa,
Yeah.
it really got the details down and it wasn't condescending.
yeah,
wasn't-
exactly.
Which was really good.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I guess us who are outside Africa, tend to think of Africa as like a country, but it's not.
Now we're more well educated than that. So
I
we
mean,
know that.
I'm just the casuals,
The
the
casuals.
quote unquote casuals. That will be like saying Mexico is like Canada because they're in North America. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
right?
get it.
So I like that they express the whole richness and diversity of Africa in all its wonders and
Yeah.
colors.
Let's shout out the costume designer
Ruth Carter, man.
Ruth Carter.
who has done amazing work.
Yeah.
We were just having this conversation. Like, I want to wear like half the wardrobe that they have, but would that be
Cultural appropriation. Most probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
It's okay. Like with half the things that T'Challa wore sort of look like baju kurung.
yeah,
The
that's
Juba.
true. No,
The Juba,
yeah,
the Juba, right?
he did. So apparently just the week after Black Panther came out, right? Like Indonesian
Garment makers.
government makers are already releasing the same thing.
Which I'm going to wear for Hari Raya. I'm definitely going to get that. I'm going to wear the T'Challa Juba.
Oh Jesus!
What
Where
kind of
are you gonna get that second chance?
Most probably.
Okay.
No, I'm going to tailor it lah, damn it.
You're gonna just e-bear it from Ruth Carter.
Why not?
Yeah. Also, shout out to I mean, everything looks fantastic, but it wouldn't look this fantastic without the lensing and framing of Rachel Morrison, who did a fantastic job. If you don't know, she's like the first ever female DP, director of photography, to ever be nominated for an Oscar for her work on Mudbound. Fantastic film from last year, which you can watch on Netflix right now.
Yes, exactly.
I really urge you to watch that film. It's really great.
Highly
Rachel Morrison's
recommended.
Fantastic, yeah.
Highly recommended. Yeah.
No, dude, this film like succeeds in every level, from the music And I'm not just talking about Kendrick Lamar's hip hop score because that's just an African American kind of perspective on it, but also Ludwig Göransson's
Yes.
tribal score as well.
Which is
the African
amazing.
drums.
Yeah.
What?
Which is amazing.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
the fact that he went to Africa and like kind of like researched for months on end, just to
Yeah.
get it right.
He's dope.
Yeah, I mean he's done all of Ryan Coogler's other films,
Yeah.
Fruitvale, Creed. He's also scored for Community, weirdly enough. And
because Childish, yes.
Oh,
And
Charlie
Childish Gambino's-
He's one of the producers.
the main
He's
producer,
the main producer for
all his albums.
the recent one.
the recent.
And also from Camp also.
Yes, from Cap. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, fantastic producer. You
Yes.
got to shout him out, lah.
Yep,
And like,
yep.
like on every fucking like technical level, this is such an achievement.
Yeah.
What were your favorite parts of the movie, either technically, narratively, or acting wise?
Last part, Killmonger's, spoiler alert, Killmonger's death scene.
And his final line.
His final line.
Okay, sure.
Oh, I love that scene.
I think for me, like a big part of the entire feel of the movie was how family it felt. Right, the entire idea, the whole royal family and everybody surrounding them, so
Yeah,
family. So my favorite parts of the movie are actually the really, really small parts where like Shuri and T'Challa have like this brother sister thing going on.
Quite cute lah, yeah,
or
yeah.
he steps off the plane, right, and all the members of his family are just making fun of him for freezing.
Yeah.
Like there's all these really, really small moments that actually make me very
Humanize characters.
Exactly. And I think a lot of the time, when it comes to superhero movies, we don't get that as much. Because if you look at the breadth of what the MCU is right now, how many of these heroes have no parents, or you never hear about them,
True.
and so on and so forth, right? But in this particular case, you have a hero who is grounded in a family, which I think is very interesting.
And
And it
unique,
becomes
yeah.
it becomes a legacy story as well.
It does.
So I really, really love that part.
Yeah.
The tech is awesome. The tech
Yeah.
is cool, and apparently not that far off. We are not that far off from having tech like that.
I believe so.
Well, not that far off. It's like 30 years.
30 years, 40 years. We might be dead by then.
Yeah.
But anyway, to add on to that, one of the other interesting things was actually, okay, I really love Killmonger, all of us do, right?
I mean, Michael B. Jordan is the character itself is probably one of the best villains the MCU has ever produced.
Yep. Hands down.
Above Loki.
Exactly.
Above Loki.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, his dream sequence scene, the one him and his dad interacting, so it was so different from how T'Challa was interacting with his dad.
Yes.
The afterlife is kind of subjective to your experiences,
Exactly,
as a person,
right?
which is what I like about its representation of it.
It was so brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean,
um,
the green screen could have been worked on. They like little like
Nitpicks with
right?
the movie, because I had nitpicks with the CGI and the final
Yeah,
battle
exactly.
scene. The green screen was a bit
A bit-
distracting sometimes.
Yeah, too obvious.
But like the acting kind of overpowered it
Exactly.
sometimes. The Killmonger scene, like you mentioned in the afterlife sequence, when the second his dad's voice boomed out, he
Yeah.
turned into a little child,
Yeah.
And I really like things like that. Even the afterlife scene with T'Challa is the only time we ever really see him break out of his stoic regal character.
Mhm.
When he just like with tears welling up his eyes saying, "You were wrong, you should have taken that boy,"
Yeah.
And that boy being a representation of the African Americans who feel left behind by Africa, the mother country,
Yeah.
and what they had to go through with slavery, with Jim Crow, with the civil rights movement in America, with no help whatsoever.
Exactly.
Killmonger represented all of that. I also like that he wasn't named Killmonger, he was named Eric Stevens. Killmonger was his nickname in the
And
army.
alias.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Killmonger is such a... It's like Jessica Jones's Killgrave. This guy has to be a villain.
I mean, we all read the comic books, and I mean, we remember Killmonger from the comics and how exaggerated he was as a character, how really like dastardly and how really bloodthirsty he was, and to see the Killmonger portrayed by Michael B. Jordan, such a nuanced character, how even though he killed a lot of people,
He is still bloodthirsty and dastardly, but,
Yeah, but-
the only difference is that his motivation is super understandable.
exactly, yeah.
He has a tragic backstory, a complex motivation that, to be honest, a lot of us can get behind.
Yeah.
The best villains always have a grain of truth in what in what they want. It isn't just like I want to conquer the world.
Yeah.
Oh, but at the end of the film, right, they essentially reach the same place, but the
They
method in which they want to execute, right, that
Yeah.
vision
Yeah.
of Wakanda. you know.
T'Challa is going about it in a more humanist way.
Yeah,
Whereas he is more of a Malcolm X kind of character.
Yeah.
But T'Challa got to that point because of Killmonger, because of what Killmonger said to him. That's why he opened up.
They found common ground in the
Exactly.
end.
Yeah.
lah.
Yeah.
Which is why that final scene of his death was so powerful. Besides his line of "bear me out at sea" with
My
the slaves who
ancestors.
jumped off the ship,
Because
because
they knew better.
Yeah, they knew
knew
better.
that freedom
like,
was better.
freedom over
Death was better than bondage.
Death over bondage. You know.
Yeah. Oh,
Such a powerful line as well. Even the time when like
we totally butchered that line, but okay.
yeah, I can't deliver it like Michael B. Jordan.
I know.
Or like when even the second he walked into the throne room and he says like, "You all's up here sitting comfortably." It's just a throwaway line, but
It is.
it spoke volumes as
Yeah,
to where
the
he came
venom
from.
in that line, the vitriol in that line.
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan obviously works really well with Ryan Coogler.
He does.
They will be doing another movie soon about the Atlanta public school cheating scandal.
Yeah.
Written by Black Panther's current comic writer, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh,
So
yep.
looking forward to everything that they're doing.
Yes.
man.
Obviously, with the box office success of this, clearly there will be a Black Panther 2.
Yep.
He'll be returning in Infinity War. It's going to be probably the major touchstone character, like Iron Man was in Phase 1
Yeah.
for this. I mean, we've said a lot of good things about it. Do you any flaws that you want to point out?
The nitpicks that we talked about.
Yeah, I think like action sequence wise, it left
Excuse me.
a bit to be desired. Right,
Yeah.
Coogler isn't much of an action director.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of a character.
I felt that
director.
if they had a better B team to direct the action,
Mhm.
it could have raised it a bit more.
Mhm.
But it wasn't. Again, this is nitpicking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's serviceable action.
Yeah,
It's
so-
not mind blowing.
Yeah, so actually not mind blowing. Surprisingly, the pacing was really good.
Yeah.
It is.
Anything to nitpick on? Okay, so you guys read about the scene that they deleted, right?
Which one?
Mm-hmm.
The one where Okoye has a moment with
Oh, with
Shun. Yeah, so they had
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
little like moment that people felt they should have put in.
It
Because-
explains the turn more. It explains the character development better.
Yeah, so I mean like so Okoye and
T'Challa or
no
Mugabe?
Mugabe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they left it out, and so that's one of the major issues that I had, because
okay.
she calls him love in the first
First
act,
part of the
and then like all the way to the final scene.
You don't
that's what
really
we
see them together.
So we don't
After
see
the
all
Rhino
of that.
League,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also a scene that they had to cut out with a kind of like a lesbian flirting moment.
Between Nakia.
No, between two of the Dora Milaje.
Oh, the other Dora Milaje.
Yeah, and that-
Anaki and okay, I can't remember their names.
Yeah, I can't
Anaki
remember
and
the names,
someone else.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
but they had to leave that out, unfortunately, as well.
Okay.
There is a forward cut of the movie that Ryan Coogler said it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that's too long, and there's a
Will
lot
we
of
ever
cut
see
out.
that though?
Probably
DVD extras.
DVD extras.
Oh, sorry, Blu-ray extras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean that. At the same time, also the movie was already quite long. It's 156 minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess they did what they could lah, and to try to minimize the running time.
Yeah. It's a little. I just wish they could have kept those things, right? Because it could have been so much more. But
Sure.
again, it has to be commercially viable.
Correct.
We have to keep
Yeah,
it business.
I guess.
Daniel Kaluuya's turn also was a bit of a nitpick for me because
Yeah.
I didn't feel like he would betray T'Challa that quickly. Although I suspect that is a byproduct of cutting out scenes in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
It would have been the same scene, actually.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's like
Yeah, I mean Daniel Kaluuya obviously a fantastic actor.
Yes.
Could have been used a bit more. Currently nominated for Best Actor in the Oscars for Get Out. I'm probably one of the few people that remember him as Posh Kenner from Skin season 1.
Oh,
I remember him from that guy in Black Mirror lah,
Also, yeah,
the cycling one.
apparently, Ryan Coogler discovered him from Black Mirror.
Oh,
Yeah, he was watching Netflix and then called him up. It's like, yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
that's one way to do it.
Black
Alright.
Mirror, man. Yeah, lots of good things. Last thing I want to shout out, like, I mean, I know I shared on the action scenes a bit, but the one take casino fight
Oh
scene,
yeah,
Very
that
good.
was a dope
That
fight
was
scene.
very,
I forgot about
very
that,
good.
yeah.
yeah,
The car action scene, that was dope too.
yes. The CGI was the problem.
Yeah, the problem, yeah. But overall, it's alright.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the least of the problems.
Again,
but I
we're
mean,
really
overall,
nitpicking here lah.
yeah, overall, great film.
Great film.
Yeah.
If if you're at this point, we've completely spoiled the movie for you.
Yeah.
But you should watch it nonetheless.
It's all in a journey, lah.
Yeah.
And
it really
I
is.
personally, I feel like the beauty of Black Panther is in its specificity, lah. Weirdly enough, counterintuitively, specificity breeds universality.
Yeah.
In terms of like your resonance.
Yep.
Because as long as you're truthful to a culture or an experience,
Yeah.
other people will feel the same way as well. That's the beauty of Black Panther. The last thing I want to say is the Dora Milaje scene that you thought,
Yeah.
the flirting scene.
Yeah.
As good as Marvel has been with the racial representation,
Yeah.
They're a bit lacking when it comes to
LGBT stuff.
stuff.
Valkyrie, for example, was supposed to be bisexual in
Yep.
Thor Ragnarok.
and they left it on the cutting room floor.
Same thing again happened with Dora Milaje.
Yep.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, Black Panther also has a very similar plot to Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Where they find out that the old king had done something unspeakable, and then you're questioning the new king has to question his institutions, and then there's a surprising long lost sibling slash challenger to the throne comes in, who is weirdly stronger than you.
Yeah.
Obviously, very different approaches to that story.
Indeed. Two very good movies.
Yeah.
Two very great movies, actually.
Yeah.
But very, very different approaches.
Fantastic.
Okay.
We've talked enough about Black Panther.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. We could go and we can do an entire 2-hour podcast about Black Panther.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, on a final note, we are really excited to see how culturally important Black Panther will become in the years to come.
It will. It definitely will.
Yeah.
You know, because
for those of you bitches who are complaining about, this isn't the first black superhero movie. If you can't tell the difference between Black Panther and Blade or Spawn or Meteor Man or Blank Man or Steel, then I don't even really know what to fucking say to you, man.
Yeah. Okay. First of all,
let's not get it.
We've been talking about this so many times. Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on to an ambitious Netflix series called Altered Carbon,
which I love.
Which I had mixed feelings on.
Yeah, I know.
which I thought was okay.
I was the only one that really was excited about it.
I mean, it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It was beautiful.
It is.
It is the most expensive series that Netflix has ever made,
and
it clearly shows.
Right?
There are some shows that are expensive, but you can't tell.
Yeah.
But this one, every single scene I see, it's like I see dollar signs.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that must have cost a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just visually dazzling, albeit shallow.
Very.
Yeah.
But that's not the point.
What makes you like?
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll
So
get there.
okay, for those of you who don't know, just a quick premise. This is a cyberpunk detective story.
It is.
It's neo-noir.
It is.
A lot of hints of Blade Runner inspiration.
The main premise is sleeving, where basically you can take one consciousness and upload it to another body slash sleeve, is what they called it.
Using that disc at the back of their neck.
Mumbo jumbo science things.
Mumbo jumbo.
They explore a lot of things like cloning, digital consciousness,
class systems,
AI. But the only issue I have with it is that they never really delve into any of it.
I agree.
It's touched upon as like a flourish and an accent to this new world.
Exactly.
But it's presented too matter-of-factly for me. So
they don't ever examine any of the themes that they throw at you.
It's basically a mishmash of every sci-fi trope I've ever seen in every TV show ever. If you've seen Blade Runner, again, it's but not just Blade Runner. Literally every sci-fi trope in the world is in Altered Carbon.
It is.
Everything that you could find in the entire anthology of Electric Dreams, right? It's just squeezed into one series.
I agree. So that's the thing, right? That's why I felt that they didn't really need to delve into it, because we've really talked about cloning in 10,000 other series. We really talked about, what's the other one?
Digital
uploading,
mortality,
right? Mortality,
sure.
and all this, and every cyberpunk trope has already been delved and talked about, So the problem is, it feels like you need to be an insider to watch Altered Carbon, someone who knows their cyberpunk quite well, right? I mean,
weirdly enough, I think it's the opposite. I think you don't need to be an insider to watch Altered
no, I mean
Carbon.
to appreciate. I mean I guess
to have that complaint.
Yeah, to have that complaint.
Alright. Yeah. I just don't think like it has much meat beneath that all that flesh and
definitely not.
And flesh.
That's not why I like it.
There's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of violence. Very cool. It's good. It's good pulpy fun.
They had very beautiful looking actors.
Actually, that's something I want to talk about. So, I was reading just a couple of stuff on Facebook after Altered Carbon came out, and one of the discussions that I saw was the representation of body types in with regards to their social standing.
Okay.
Right. So all the what they call again? The meths.
Meths.
Right.
Yeah.
All the meths are beautiful, skinny, right?
Yeah.
White, blonde, blue-eyed.
Yeah.
Right. But everyone else is like curvy.
Diversity, bro.
No, it's not about diversity. It's about where they're standing. So
you
like
got money. I mean, if you got money, you can genetically modify yourself.
But again, right? It's interesting how they chose to show that, like the different body types. So, like you have your what's the detective's name?
Ortega.
Oh yes, Ortega, right?
Yeah.
Ortega, who is amazingly beautiful.
She is,
but very, very curvy, as opposed to
the wife.
The wife, right?
Yeah.
So there was this huge discussion about that, and upon first watching that, I didn't think about that. I was too distracted by Joanne Kinnaman's abs.
Yeah, man, those apps.
yeah, man.
and-
Not a great actor,
he's
but
a fucking
fantastic
trap.
ass.
That's
Yeah.
a thirst trap right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I've never enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix in anything, to be honest. From Red
Robocop.
Flag. Robocop was alright.
I mean, was it really? Nah, anyway.
That's another discussion.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
Okay.
But I thought that was interesting. I
It
also
was.
thought that was very interesting. So, do you consider the fact that he was, as an Asian-born man,
Yeah.
being received as a white man as the
Yeah.
main protagonist, is that whitewashing?
I think it's not though.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because those are, I mean, just like random things that I read while people were discussing this thing, and
Yeah.
like just fodder for discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. But that being said, right?
Isn't it the Ghost in the Shell argument too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's a similar kind of concept of receiving.
I mean,
It probably is, but I mean, but the thing is, you never actually know what the major's original race is, right?
racist. But for these guys, I mean, we've seen his other sleeves, right? His past.
And
They also
all
act-
more well acted than his actual sleeve.
True.
Yeah.
But they followed him because he acted as what's his name? What's the detective's name?
Ortega.
No, I mean,
Kovacs.
sorry, Kovacs.
Kovacs. He's
Yeah.
not elected.
Sorry, not detective.
Takeshi Kovacs.
Takashi Kovacs' character, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was the one that acted, and they followed him. The other two.
Yeah, but still,
Like,
like
that's supposed to show that he can do his material better than him.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Like, that's the thing. The
Yeah.
Asian guys are really dope. Like.
yeah, I really even the kid that
I
played
don't,
him.
I mean, overall, what I found interesting about this series is how well paced it was over the 10 episodes. Was
Yeah.
it 10 episodes? Yeah.
I
Um,
did feel it lost a bit of steam near the end towards the climax. But I get where
Really?
you're coming from. Yeah. It was
Okay.
interesting. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was a good binge watch.
I mean,
I had a different perspective. I was quite interested for the first 5 episodes, and the last 5 ramped it up really quickly
Yeah.
because it became more plot driven, and therefore the
less
narrative
about
took me along.
him exploring the world and getting used to
Yeah,
his new
I wasn't
body
too
and
interested in the world building because it was kind of caricature to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But once the plot took over and everything else faded to the side like acting, character, things that they're not good at. And it became story driven lah. Who did this murder?
Okay.
Yeah, but it was that kind of moment where he does the frame up first,
Yeah.
right? And then there's this long, almost
the-
like 1.5 episodes where they are not going to tell you,
Yeah.
even though he already says he knows. That just killed it for me. I just like
I
get,
get that
get
also.
to the point.
The Murder She Wrote moment should come at the end.
I agree.
And they did 2 Murder She Wrote moments.
They did.
Alright, yeah.
But what was also good, was the side stories. Things like the daughter that was going through that traumatic.
The really, really small character moments,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
She's going through the whole
The daughter is the best part of the
therapy
show to
thing,
me.
right?
Yeah.
And how she came out and kicked ass and saved his life, essentially.
Yeah.
Ortega also, like 2 really strong women lah.
Yeah.
You know, one going through that whole journey of going past a traumatic experience, becoming stronger,
Yeah.
kicking ass at the end, and Ortega who lost her arm, lost her whole entire family, right?
Piling Up is another sci-fi trope, by the way.
I know, but Arm is such a sci-fi trope. I love it so much.
We're gonna see Misty Knight soon, so
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
See,
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, so on and so forth lah. I mean, I love this kind of small character moments that the show did have lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me,
Overall.
it was the tiny parts, right?
Yeah.
Like the girl who's been re-sleeved into a 50-year-old
50.
woman's body.
That's the first part lah. Yeah.
Right? And the biker gang sleeve that gets used over
For
multiple
her,
characters.
Yeah.
The cholo looking actor, not cholo lah,
No, biker.
The biker looking actor, the guy with the bald guy with the tattoos on his
He
head.
played like 3 characters. or-
Three characters.
Yeah, he was quite a revelation to me.
Same.
His portrayal of Ortega's
Grandmother.
great grandmother,
Grandmother.
was quite amazing lah.
Yeah, it was.
Just
mind-blowing.
his mannerisms and just the way he behaved like an actual grandmother.
Like a Abella.
It really made me believe he was Abuela.
Yeah.
And then 2 episodes later,
Yeah.
he's
He
fucking
was-
Russian. He's some
He's
Russian.
a Russian guy.
Yeah.
Which was so amazing.
And suddenly the accent changes and that was dope.
He was the Tatiana Maslany of the show.
Yes,
True.
I totally agree. I would have watched like a series just based on him. You know.
Another little thing that I really liked was things like certain details. Things like how her partner, Ortega's partner, the Muslim guy, how he was speaking in Arabic, and she understood, and she was speaking in Spanish.
It's a post-language world.
It's a post-language show,
It's
right?
kind of like Firefly, how everyone
Yeah.
kind of speaks Mandarin and English at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it's fine,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of like diversity and that kind of
Yeah.
integration. That
It did have its moments.
I
you know,
don't-
but I felt like
I enjoyed
for
it.
the kind of money that they threw into it, it
It's
looked
alright.
the part.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't feel like at the end of the day,
Mhm.
that's all we're gonna be talking about.
it is.
You know, and
It
nothing
it
more.
is relatively faithful to the novels. In a
Mhm.
sense that like the novels never did explore any of the ethical dilemmas that any
They
of these
didn't.
technologies presented.
But the novels weren't really good novels.
No, yeah. I mean,
that's fair, yeah.
from all accounts, this is a huge improvement over the book.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they have that going for them.
Mhm.
Despite all our complaints, it did relatively well on Netflix, and we'll probably get a season 2, which I don't mind. Season 2 and 3 apparently will be set in totally different worlds with totally different characters.
Yeah.
So it will be more of an anthology kind
Yeah.
of show.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just using the same technology lah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Apparently Kovacs won't even be in the second season.
That's
Excellent.
alright.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, other than
I mean, he
that-
can be in. He can be played by any number of actors. You know, it doesn't
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
be Joe
that's
Biden.
true. That's true. I do like the writing behind the character.
Mhm.
The acting was sub.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Altered Carbon, recommend? Yes.
I recommend.
Yeah, I would
Because it's an
recommend
easy
it
binge.
because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a 6 out of 10 for me. So I guess it's still fresh and.
I mean, I love it and all,
Yeah.
but I'm giving it a 7.
Alright, I give it a fresh, but it's a barely fresh. It's 6,
Yeah, okay.
6 out of 10.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
What's
I,
next?
I just kind of wanted to point out with our discussion of bionic arms. Black Panther also had 2 characters with bionic arms.
Oh.
Ulysses Claw
Ulysses
and
Claw.
Winter Soldier.
And Winter
Although Winter Soldier did
Uh,
not have his arm.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, we'll be moving on to an Oscar-nominated genre darling right now.
Mhm.
It had 13 Oscar nominations, which
It
is
did.
very surprising. Especially
a genre film.
Especially for a genre film.
Yeah.
Genre was very well represented in the Oscars this year.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the front runners to win Best Picture is a horror movie, which is
Get Out.
which
First
is
time.
weird you know. Horror just we talked a lot about superheroes not being represented. Horror even less.
Even less.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean?
But I mean, it's well written. lah.
Oh yeah. The Shape of Water, written directed by Guillermo del Toro,
Mhm.
is just a fantastic, wondrous fairy tale, which I kind of fell in love with, and I really adored this.
Me too.
One of my favorite movies of the month.
Sally Hawkins, man. Damn.
What do you guys think?
Beautiful movie.
Beautiful
Yeah.
movie.
It's just like so.
That's all. Beautiful movie.
Yeah, I mean, it had so many moments where
did.
you just.
First of all, the attention to the details for the. I mean, it's a
Insane.
period piece.
Period,
Yeah, it's a period piece.
Right? So the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
But it's Del Toro, so you don't really expect any
Exactly,
less.
right? So
Right?
it's the height of his, oh man, aesthetic powers.
Yeah.
Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. The story I felt
It's simple.
was simple, yeah, right? It was told in a good way, I think.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, it didn't delve very deeply into any kind of backstory.
Yeah. Don't need to go into the mythos of
Yeah,
the
and there
creature
are
and
no
all
mythology
that stuff. It's
behind all
fine.
that, which
Yeah.
which is interesting,
Yeah.
given that usually Del Toro
Yeah,
does add
he
a
does.
lot of that.
But
I mean, he
he gives
gives-
like to be a fairy tale. Most fairy tales don't delve into the
That is
mythology
also
of the
true.
creatures, lah.
Yeah.
So you have little tidbits here. He's from the Amazon, worshipped like a god, blah blah blah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. That's
But-
all you need.
But in the end, it truly is just about a tale of transformative love, lah.
Yeah.
And it's basically a compassionate movie about the lonely outcast of the world.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, besides the unfortunate merman who is being experimented on in the science lab,
Mhm.
the other protagonists include 2 women. One of them is mute, and the other is African American.
Mhm.
So already, minorities.
Oh, this episode got a lot of diversity issues,
I think genre has always been very
Yeah lah, that's true
diversity centric.
Yeah.
The other protagonist is a gay man.
Oh,
played
yeah,
by
he
Richard
is the artist.
Jenkins.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, this is a movie for the lonely outcasts of the world, people who feel are not represented.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And about how love can transform everything.
Mhm.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler
Hmm.
alert,
Say that.
she becomes a fish at the end.
She doesn't. She was
Well, I mean,
always
she grew
a
gills
fish.
lah.
She did not grew gills. She always had gills.
That
It was
is
just never unlocked.
We don't know that for sure.
I know.
right?
Yeah.
One of the great
Yeah.
mysteries. Of
Mysteries.
the
Yeah.
We'll call Del Toro and ask him.
Yeah. I like to call this film genre fluid.
Genre fluid.
Because it is part fairy tale, but it's also like part creature feature. It's part silent movie. It's part spy noir. It's part musical, and also a central fable.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it could actually pass off for a very interesting 1950s film. I mean, the period was the 1950s, but it also had the filmmaking qualities of the
Of-
1950s,
yes,
that
exactly.
period of time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Those
it's
monster
just
films and all that.
breathtakingly beautiful and just like unabashedly romantic.
Yeah. Oh, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
And also Sally Hawkins, huh?
Yeah. Weirdly enough, only the second best Sally Hawkins film I've seen this year.
Yeah, Paddington 2.
Paddington 2 is the best Sally Hawkins movie I've seen
If you
this
have
year.
not watched Paddington, go and watch Paddington.
Yeah.
It's Paddington.
I guess Paddington can be no.
No, it can't.
Cartoon.
It's not.
Cartoon.
It's animated, but the talking bear part is not science or fantasy.
No, but
is
it was
it?
it was a cartoon to begin with.
That's true. That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
so we could.
So we can
kinda-
review Paddington too.
Okay, we will discuss this and get back to you guys.
But like just weirdly enough, Sally Hawkins had several scenes reminiscent of the shade of water in Paddington too.
Yeah.
With the scene of her diving into the water
Into
to
the
save
water
Paddington.
to save Paddington, yeah.
Weird, right?
And
In
was-
in
yeah.
Paddington 1, there was a scene where Paddington didn't know how to turn off the tap in
the house.
in the bathroom,
Yeah.
and then the bathroom filled up with water,
Yeah.
and Sally Hawkins had to go in and save him as
Yeah.
well, much like the sex scene with the creature here.
Yeah.
Therefore, they are the
Therefore-
same creature.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, also, we were supposed to talk about a movie called Annihilation this
Yeah,
month.
but it got removed from.
I got removed. We'll talk more about the context of Annihilation when we actually review Annihilation.
We will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
But-
we will do so.
I just have a small little anecdote. One of the breakout creatures from Annihilation is this apparently really scary, frightening bear. This bear creature from The Shimmering.
Oh,
The VFX team that did the bear effects were the same VFX team that did Paddington.
oh shit.
So I was reading this interview on EW. They were saying like, this is our second bear movie this year. And weirdly enough, they named the bear Homerton, which is the train station right next to
right
Paddington.
next to Paddington.
Yep.
Damn, son. All right.
Yeah, small little thing that we should keep in mind for
Yeah.
Annihilation next month.
And we can link back every episode. We link back to Paddington.
Paddington? Because I feel like people kind of just don't take us seriously when we recommend Paddington too.
Yeah, when we say that it's one of the best movies we ever watched,
They think like it's a joke, but it's
it is not. We really love that movie.
Yeah. Speaking of things that we love, The Good Place just ended its second season.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Good Place is a comedy series by Mike Schur
Yeah.
of Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Mhm.
The Office, Parks and Recreation fame.
So wait, what do you think? Do you prefer this season or last season?
I prefer this season
Me too.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
it's not to say the first season is bad.
Oh, it's
the
great.
first
No, it
season
was it's a good.
it's wonderful, but it's just a huge improvement lah.
Right?
It delves so much deeper into the number one, the philosophical quandaries facing them
Yeah.
in every situation that they're put in.
Yeah.
You delve into like Kantian dilemmas and stuff like that. But you also have a lot of personal discovery,
You do?
specifically with the character of Michael,
Yeah.
Cool.
who is a demon who discovers human emotion through his friendship with Janet, which is
AI.
kind of an AI.
Not a robot.
Not a robot.
Mhm.
Not a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love things like that. I also love how like every 4 episodes they blow up their own premise and
Yeah.
move on to something
It's
else.
Something
quite
else.
insane. Like you watch the whole of season 1 and you think
Yeah.
to yourself, it can't get any more absurd than
Yeah.
And it
right?
does.
And it does. They keep upping the stakes, which is quite insane.
And I mean, spoiler alert, they're alive again.
Yeah.
Not really. I think it's a simulation.
It's a simulation, lah. You
Yeah.
know, but
But still.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, and it's just such a funny show with a lot of just throwaway gags, you know. Like
yeah.
when Tahani was walking past that hallway of people she knew from the past who were talking about her.
Yeah.
And all the little side gags with the names and everything.
There's one Beyonce and And-
Beyonce with her kids.
Beyonce and Paul McCartney or something like that. They
There
were
was
talking
also
about her.
yeah. There was also Prince William and
Prince.
Prince. Yeah.
yeah. So even that is Tahani's mention for name dropping is even there. But like what I love most about the premise detonating like daring of The Good Place is that unlike other twisty shows like
Twisty shows.
like Westworld for example, Westworld is kind of patronizing in the everything you thought was wrong
Yeah.
kind of vibe. But this one, every twist serves to serve this character
Yeah.
and develop them even more.
Yeah.
And it never discards ideas within it either.
Yeah.
It's for a specific purpose and it's very character driven.
It is.
The second season is just so much better than the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a very good first season.
I agree.
Correct.
I mean, I really had no idea this was where it was going, right? Like after the whole switch and bait thing, after we were thinking, fuck, they're in a bad place, and we figured that out.
Yeah.
And like, how the hell are they gonna go from here?
Exactly.
Right?
But it just kept getting better and better.
Yeah.
And I remember us discussing before the season even ended, like how they possibly could end the season
Yeah.
by changing it up again. I did not predict.
And none of us predicted that they'll be thrown into a simulation.
And usually
to live again.
I'm pretty good at like seeing some
Yeah.
of these twists early on.
I mean, because we've watched so much genre, we've watched so much other series,
Exactly.
we kind of can tell where it's going, right?
yeah, but no, I was caught off guard. It was really
Same.
good. It was really good. Please watch The Good Place.
One of the main I guess points where you can tell that a twisty show is good even without the twist is that I can rewatch season 1 and 2 knowing all the twists and still enjoy it
Yeah.
because it's so character driven.
Yeah. It is.
What draws me in is actually the friendship between these 4 people.
Yeah.
and
even Jason.
Yeah, Jason Mendoza. Who is still, trying to blow up things with Molotov cocktails, is still the most lovable doofus out there. Yeah.
He's still gonna fail this test.
Yes. Oh, we don't know.
Oh, we
Well,
don't know.
I think one of the keys to one of the lessons that we can take away from the good place is that becoming a good person doesn't happen in a vacuum.
It doesn't.
Not only is morality kind of subjective, but the attempt to be a good person can only happen when you have a support structure around you.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have to be good for someone,
Yeah.
for love, or for friendship, or for something like that, lah. And that's kind of what the good place is all about, lah. And truthfully, what most Mike Schur shows are about anyway.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they're all funny, independently.
Yeah.
But it's all about kind of friends working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Human relationships.
Yes, it's all about human relationships.
Yeah.
Like I love the humanity that's presented in Mike Schur shows.
Man, I love all his shows.
All of them, right?
All of them, yeah. It's weird.
Great track record.
I mean, I'm
So far, lah.
Yeah, he's never had a dud yet, lah.
Yeah.
Never had a dud. He's doing a new show with Natalie Morales, so he's gonna be super busy.
Damn, son.
Yeah, love Mike Schur. Mike Schur has also directed other genre stuff. He directed he wrote and directed Nosedive from Black Mirror, season 3, episode
Oh,
1.
yeah.
With Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones, yeah.
Yeah, so no stranger to genre.
No stranger to genre right there. Okay.
I'm about to hand over this podcast to Hadi and Isa right now because they're going to start talking about Star Trek Discovery.
And
What,
then
you didn't watch?
I mean, no.
He really said he wouldn't watch. We established this in the last
I've
podcast.
seen the season premiere and the second episode.
And
so
I lost
I'm-
interest after that.
I'm just going to lay it out. Star Trek Discovery is the newest Star Trek series on CBS All Access, which is their streaming service.
Uh-huh.
It's the only series developed specifically for that streaming service.
Yeah.
It's originally created by Brian Fuller, who
Yeah.
left the show due to quote-unquote creative differences. Something
Again.
he's been doing a lot of recently.
Yeah, this guy can never stay in a show.
But seeing where CBS wanted to take Discovery,
You can't blame him.
I don't really blame him.
Yeah lah.
I was... you know what? Fuck it. What do you guys think of Star Trek Discovery?
He had so much to say, but he just doesn't want to say it.
We'll let him chime later. Okay, Hadi,
Okay.
let's do this.
What do you like?
What do I like? Costume and set design is amazing.
Brilliant, yes.
Uh,
CGI, not bad.
the CGI is actually, I'm
Right.
actually very, very impressed.
For a
with
Star Trek
CGI.
series, it's been a while that has been this good right? I mean,
For CGI.
I think
for
like this
CGI.
is the first
Don't you think
time.
Don't you think it's just a byproduct of the advent of time?
yeah, true. But I'm saying even the detailing of the ships, right? The way that they made the Klingons, the way they do the warp speed travel thing and all
Yeah.
that, right? All those little details. But
But
they
you
seem
think-
to pay more attention to it, I
Yeah.
know it's the advent of time and all that stuff, new
They have this better
technology,
technology to work with right now.
True.
Yeah.
right? But also, it's quite interesting to see how Star Trek has grown over the years.
Oh, there's a big number.
Shame.
Shame.
I don't have a bell, damn it.
Anyway, it's okay. First off, Michael Burnham, right? One of the best Star Trek protagonists ever. Since Cisco, I feel.
Well, first protagonist that isn't a captain.
Who isn't Captain? Yeah.
First protagonist who isn't a
Who isn't a
captain,
captain.
who is an outlier,
Who's an
one
outlier.
of the best acted characters with
First
the best
mute-
motivations
Mutineer of Starfleet.
ever.
Ever.
And last?
First and last, I guess. I don't know where last.
Well, it is a prequel, so I don't remember any other things.
And we will research that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. I think the creature effects have been great. Shout out to Doug Jones again,
Doug Jones.
who, by the
Who
way,
was
if
in
you
Shape of
didn't
Water?
know, basically does all the major creatures.
Yeah.
Like
Shape of
what,
Water. He
Silver
was.
Surfer,
Silver
Pan's
Surfer,
Labyrinth,
Pan's
Hellboy.
Labyrinth, Hellboy.
Most of the Taurus things.
The
Yeah,
Taurus
most
things.
of the Taurus things.
So to see him here
Have
and
you seen the silent episode of Buffy? Also, he played the gentleman.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Right.
And Doug-
Ape
Ape
from
Sapien.
Ape Sapien.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Also, Shape of Water.
Also Shape of Water.
Also Shape of Water.
Basically the same thing. But this is kind of one of the first, or one of the very, very few speaking roles that you actually see him in.
I mean,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what else?
Usually his voice is modulated or someone
Yeah, so
else.
it's like
voicing
Silver
it.
Surfer, he had like 5 lines.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was Lawrence Fishburne that
Yes.
voiced
yeah.
Silver Surfer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, it's him acting and all that, and he's got.
And he did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, Saru was one of the characters that I actually like how they developed Saru.
Yeah, I hated Saru at the beginning.
Right, he was this a bit cowardly, a bit like to the book kind of
Yeah.
guy. Eventually, he saw that list of like great captains, and then
Yeah.
you saw like Pike, and you saw like Jojo, and a bunch of like other ex-captains that like Archer and all that. So, and then from that, it inspired him to be better. lah.
I feel like Saru's character growth throughout the
One of the
season
best.
has been comparable to Michael's.
Yeah,
Right, and
It's
I've really,
side by
really,
side,
yeah,
all the
I
way.
really enjoyed that because
Yeah.
it's two very different characters who are kind of unfortunately stuck with each other.
yeah.
And it's a great counterpoint in terms of the writing.
It is.
I
I mean,
quite like it.
I mean, there was backlash for characters like Lorca, right?
Which they kind of like magic wanded away.
Yeah, with the whole, with the whole,
I'm not a big fan of that arc.
you're not a big fan of Mirror Universe.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Star Trek.
This is the first Star Trek series to actually delve into the Mirror Universe
For an extended number of episodes.
period. of
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
So-
have to clarify that although I have not seen Star Trek Discovery, I know everything that happens.
Because he has read everything about
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery.
And everything I've read has not convinced me to watch it.
Okay, so I feel that I do agree with all the points of contention that you have fixed, and we've discussed this
Yeah.
at length,
Yeah.
right? So we won't really go into that. I know that for a lot of hardcore Trekkies, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
It goes against everything that,
But I feel
the
that-
Federation stands for,
I guess, yeah.
and goes against a great legacy that has been
I
inherited
agree.
from like.
I agree.
And while I agree with all those things, it doesn't change the fact that it's fun.
it's fun.
Star
Yeah.
Trek Discovery is really fun, and I think it's a great gateway
Exactly,
for
yes.
people who aren't Trekkies.
Yeah, I mean, the accessibility of this series was a lot better than like Enterprise.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah. It was
Enterprise, the TV show?
The TV show.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree
it's
with that.
way more accessible.
Mm.
And I know it shits on certain Trek legacies here and there, but overall,
But you see, they get away with it because it's a prequel,
yeah,
right? This is the Federation before it became the Federation,
Federation
that
that we
everyone
know.
knows and loves.
Yeah.
So I am more willing to forgive these things. Also, I'm not as big a Trekkie, I think, as either one of you are. But that being said, it is not without its flaws.
It does not. Yeah,
The plot twist and just how the
a bit
general
convenient.
arc. Wait, but then again, Star Trek always has,
It's also very convenient.
right. You got some scientific babble that goes on that solves like
The MacGuffin?
everything.
The MacGuffins
Yeah.
are, yeah.
It's pretty insane, like how they twist and turn that
Yeah.
way.
But I felt that the technology was a lot more organic in a way. Like literally organic.
Yeah.
Like the spore drive and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
So I was watching. What's the after show? After Trek.
After Trek, yeah.
Right, and the one that they interviewed the scientist
Uh-huh.
that the scientist that the entire spore technology is based on.
Mm-hmm.
I find that's fascinating, right?
It
For them to
is.
pull that kind of out of nowhere with no kind of like a prior basis in Trek lore, I think that was very interesting.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I came into Trek really early on in my childhood. I obviously did not watch the original series because, way past my time.
Yeah.
Way before my time, I'm sorry. But I'm a big TNG fan, DS9,
Mhm.
Voyager, Enterprise, not so much.
Not so much.
Every even-numbered Star Trek movie has been really good. But it's kind of ended for me when J.J. Abrams started doing his Star Trek movies, which have just become his showreel for his Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So okay, I understand that the Star Trek movies I can kind of put to one side because it's in the Kelvin timeline. So,
Kelvin timeline, yes.
So that's what that's
Which
what.
they're going to destroy in the future.
So I hear.
Yeah, so I hear.
So, but I can't detach from Star Trek Discovery because it takes place in the main timeline.
It
Yeah.
does.
And that's just weird for me lah.
Mm.
Like for example, a lot of the MCU stuff right doesn't really follow Marvel comics, but it's
Yep.
okay lah. It's in they're in their own
It's the
timeline.
MCU timeline.
Yeah, so I can kind of like forgive that.
I get that.
But with Discovery, with how they kind of challenge institutions that I come to hold dear to me,
Yeah, but okay.
has made me feel hypocritical because I love the challenging of the institutions when it came to Star Wars, a franchise that is less beloved by me, but I'm still a fan of.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, hey, I mean, come on, accept new ideas.
But this one, it
push
pushes to the heart.
boundaries. But when push comes to shove, right, I'm as purist or as a fanboy. I'm as much a purist fanboy. The ones that I mock, I'm as much like them.
Like them, yeah.
Yeah, then I
That's
care,
why we have this stupid podcast.
then I care to believe lah. Yeah, Star Trek is too close to me.
It
for
is,
me
okay,
to
I get that.
for me to
I
accept
understand
Discovery.
that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I
Yeah.
mean, Hardy himself is as big of a Trekkie as I am.
But I'm more of an apologist lah. I'm more of a Star Trek apologist.
Yes, we
Yeah.
shall coin a new term, fanboytical.
Yeah, so I feel this is a good direction for Star Trek.
It's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel there was one particular episode before they took the mid-season break.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a standalone or was it a?
It wasn't
it
a
a-
standalone yet.
Which one?
The one where they actually went down to the world, like the
Oh, okay.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then like there's only twice that happens in the entire
Yeah,
series,
the first
right?
episode and the
Yeah, so
mid-season.
there were like a couple of episodes where it really did felt like a full-on like
Star Trek.
proper Trek show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
The spirit of exploration and of anthropology and of exploring various cultures and their society or culture, it's what is lacking in Discovery for me.
Yeah.
Being a purely serialized show.
I mean, especially when we love series like Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine,
Mm.
Dead Space
Right?
Nine.
Deep Space Nine, you know, and how the interactions within the space station,
Correct.
the different cultures that were interacting.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Star Trek
You're
is a
right.
show about anthropology to
Yeah.
me, and Discovery is a war show. It's a conflict show,
Yeah,
It is.
It is.
which will be fine. And I keep saying that Star Trek Discovery, if it was going by any other title, Battlestar Galactica Discovery or whatever,
I
you know,
agree. I understand that point.
The Expanse Discovery
Yeah.
or whatever.
I understand that. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but when you put Star Trek there, you have to be at least, no, I don't want to say loyal or subservient, but at
Uh-huh.
least like respectful of its legacy lah.
They do to an extent though.
It's the to an extent part
Which
that
is a
bothers me
problem
lah.
lah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get
okay.
that.
Yeah.
that's fair.
Being the purist fanboy, I don't want to an
Though-
extent.
Right?
I want to all extents.
I agree. But I felt right, this entire series was worth it for the end, the last scene of the season.
Oh. So you're waiting for them to fuck up Enterprise's legacy too in season 2.
I don't think they're gonna feature
I
Enterprise
think it's
that
going
much
to be
lah.
interesting.
It's just that moment, right? When you see the 1701 and you
Mhm.
see Enterprise pop out onto the screen and just facing Discovery.
I don't
You
know, man. I don't know.
I was excited.
I was,
Yeah.
but after that scene, I was just like, I share his concern.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, that they might fuck around with it.
It's okay, that's next season.
We'll see. It might be just you know, it might just be fan service.
Yeah,
So-
it is fan service.
No, as in like they might go and explore and have some kind of interaction.
Yeah,
with
most probably.
Enterprise.
I mean, this will be Captain Pike, and that means that our good friend Spock is on the Enterprise right now.
That'll be quite interesting.
also, actually, that's great because Burnham is actually
It's Spock's half sister.
yeah.
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 So Nicole Martin Green is actually my favorite part of the show. I think she's a fantastic
She is.
actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
besides Doug Jones, who
Mm.
steals every
Yeah.
scene that he's in.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, me being me, I will definitely catch up on it eventually because I catch
Eventually.
up on everything
I
eventually.
know.
I just think there's great potential.
Me too.
I think there's great potential. I think that if they have spent this much time on the details of the look, right, and even like the references to the lore of Star Trek as a whole, I think there's also a lot of potential for them to go into detail about the legacy.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
agree.
I will say one
yeah.
thing. It is better than Enterprise.
It is better than.
I do have to say that. Right?
It's not really high bar.
Yes. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah
And
lah.
it's I'll go so far as to say it's better than the J.J. Abrams Star Treks.
Yeah, I would say it's just slightly below Voyager.
Yeah. I like Voyager quite a
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
It's my third favorite Star Trek show.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deep Space Nine is my first. Then Next Generation.
Yeah. On sheer production value and consistency and stuff like that, I guess it has a leg up on the original series.
It does.
But the original series is the original series. Lah.
Yeah. We cannot. That one legacy really
Correct.
cannot say much.
Yeah.
Even Martin Luther King was a fan of the original series. Man.
There we go.
He
Drunk
can-
history, guys. Catch up.
Yeah, he convinced Nichelle Nichols not to quit the show because she would serve as an inspiration to African American
girls.
girls.
Yeah.
Or just in general.
In
you know.
general, yeah.
She herself, after meeting Martin Luther King, because she wanted to do Broadway after season 1,
Yeah.
and Martin Luther King was like, "Man,
No,
I'm a
man.
big fan of Star Trek. You should come back, and inspire people like me." And she did, and then she personally recruited like several female and African American astronauts and mathematicians into the program, lah.
Dope, right?
Yeah.
And now we have a African American female.
We
protagonist.
forget like how
Yeah.
how Star Trek. I mean, and that's why I understand why you're so hung up over certain things about Star Trek's legacy
Mhm.
because of what came before
Mhm.
and how important a milestone it is for a lot of people's lives.
Mhm.
Yeah, lah. So I get that,
Mhm.
but still give it a chance. And also, it's I highly recommend for new Trekkies to watch this. I mean, people who have never watched Star Trek before.
Yeah, if
This is
you're
an
looking,
easy
if you're
gateway.
looking for kind of like a gateway,
Yeah,
you
go
want to
for
start
it.
somewhere, I would recommend Discovery as a good way.
Yeah.
I would recommend you watching TNG on Netflix.
Oh yeah, there's
Which is also on Netflix.
Oh, Disney's 9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also on Netflix.
On
Also
Netflix,
Netflix,
yeah.
yes.
And that's all we have to say about Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah lah.
We're going to be moving on to a little segment that I have called Quick Hits.
Quick hits.
Due to the nature of my job, which is basically, watching things, I have more time or opportunity to watch things than my other co-hosts don't.
Even though I'm fun employed.
Not for long.
Not for
Hopefully, yeah, he's going to be an insurance agent soon.
What?
You
Yeah.
need a policy.
Yeah, I need a policy.
Genre equality got you covered.
Our email is genreequality@gmail.com. So if you want an insurance policy or something, our co-host Hadi. Yeah, this is not a scam.
This is not a scam.
This is not a scam.
Alright.
Yeah, but yeah, let's dive in. Where I'll basically just run through a few TV series or movies that I caught up over the recent month, and I'm just gonna give you a brief breakdown. Should you see it? Should you not? And all the little things in between. The first thing I'm gonna soft recommend. Soft is a Netflix horror movie called The Ritual. It takes place in like the deep dark Nordic forest, the Scandinavian wilderness lah. It's very atmospheric, and I like that. And these I guess British hikers are confronted with a malevolent Norse deity. So it's pretty black metal lah. The most black metal horror movie I've ever seen. But it's just a soft recommend because despite its evocative use of its setting and serviceable cast, the story was very tropey and is familiar. It's quite predictable.
You like what?
Why?
I like.
Don't say I
Don't
like.
project.
Sorry, I'm projecting.
Excuse me.
Does it sound like I'm discovering? Does it sound like Discovery?
It doesn't.
Does it sound? Oh no, it sounds more like Off the Cupboard.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Yeah. I mean, director David Bruckner does a fairly decent job of conveying a thick sense of tension
Okay.
and fear and dread lah. But story-wise, it's too predictable, and you can see where all the deaths are coming, where the conclusion is coming. So in that sense, it's just an okay horror movie.
Okay.
It's a soft recommend. If you have a Friday night, you got an hour and a half. It's a short movie. Check it out. It's not bad. What is a bad horror movie is a movie called Winchester.
Yes. Please. Tell us.
Just not just one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. Just one of the worst movies I've seen in general.
Wow.
Like not this month, not this year. I mean,
In
like
general,
I
in
mean,
life.
like in my life.
Okay, please explain.
It stars Helen Mirren, and because it stars Helen Mirren,
Oh,
I expected it to be so much better.
that's
She has nothing to do with it except look creepy. Winchester is a story of the most haunted house in America, the
yeah.
Winchester Mansion,
yes.
basically. So the story is about how Helen Mirren, she goes crazy. She builds all these like circular staircases and hallways and doorways that lead
goes
to
to
nowhere.
nowhere.
Yeah. The story is that because she inherited her wealth, her family inherited their wealth from the Winchester gun manufacturer, their ancestors. So they have all these death and blood on their hands, and the ghosts come there to haunt them.
Yeah.
Which I mean could have been an interesting political theme that you could have delved into, but they don't.
Yeah.
This movie by the Spirik brothers was just really uninspired and super boring. Much like the spiral staircases that lead nowhere, this movie leads nowhere. It's just one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Do not see it.
Okay.
100% do not see it. Another thing I'm gonna say do not see is a movie called Mute.
Oh.
Mute is exceptionally disappointing because it's by a filmmaker that I dearly love called Duncan Jones. Duncan Jones is the writer-director of Moon. But since then, he's had a rough go of it.
Warcraft.
His movie prior to this was not very well received.
It wasn't.
His father, David Bowie, passed away the same year as well.
Okay.
So having a tough time. Everybody was expecting Mute to be his return to form.
Yeah.
But and the trailers look good. It's much like Altered Carbon. It has a similar feel. It's a cyberpunk, neon lit detective story.
Okay.
The premise was interesting.
It stars Alexander Skarsgård, who you may know as Eric Northman from True Blood.
Also abs.
Also abs, yeah.
Also,
He plays like a kind of Ryan Gosling from Drive character. an Amish person who just doesn't speak. But this is just a slog to get through. It's derivative. There's a weird subplot with pedophilia, which I don't understand, and it's almost supportive of it.
Okay.
Paul Rudd is totally wasted in it. Alexander Skarsgård is not good.
Oh man.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I love Alexander Skarsgård. Like Eric Northman was pretty much the best part of True Blood.
He was.
And of course, he's finding quite a fair bit of acclaim on what's that?
Pretty Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Pretty Little Lies.
Yeah, I just made that mistake.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Big
Yeah.
Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Yes.
It's Pretty Little Liars.
Yes. Yes, the
Yeah.
ratchet one.
Yeah.
That's a ratchet show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this is a Blade Runner with no depth.
Ayo.
It's visually polished but narratively derivative and overall very muddled.
Okay.
Mute could have been a sci-fi epic, but it's unfortunately very misguided in its narrative subplots and everything else.
Okay.
This is a movie that fails on nearly every level. This, especially considering that Altered Carbon just came out, which is a much better version of Mute.
It is.
Yeah.
Being a murder mystery, detective story, kind of same setting and all that. Avoid Mute at all costs. So just to recap, The Ritual 6 out of 10, Winchester 0 out of 10.
0.
Minus.
Wow.
Yeah. Mute is
2.
2 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So not the worst, but
Nowhere near the good lah.
nowhere near the good at all.
Sorry, Duncan Jones.
Nowhere near mediocre. I still love Duncan Jones for Moon, one of my favorite genre films of all time.
Yep.
But at the same time, I cannot let that bias me lah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mute is fucking terrible. I would like to recommend Happy. Happy is an adaptation of Grant Morrison's Image comic. So it's based on his graphic novel, and I do emphasize graphic because it is hyper violent, high octane, and like gleefully perverse. It stars Christopher Maloney, who you may recognize from Law and Order SVU, Special Victims Unit. He's basically playing a cranked up version of his character.
From Law and Order.
From Law and Order, with similar backstory. He used to be from a Special Victims Unit as well. Something happened to children, and then like he went nuts. Yeah, and when I mean cranked up, I don't mean like on the drug. I mean like in the movie Crank.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Like that kind of guy. It's super violent. It has a lot of like. If you've ever read Image comics from the 90s, you kind of get the tropes.
Yeah.
There are like gratuitous murders, gang wars. There's a deranged pedophilic Santa Claus. There is an EDM orgy with.
What?
Yep. There's an EDM orgy with life-size insects.
What is happening? What is happening?
Reality TV scum, and his best friend, an imaginary blue unicorn named Happy.
Okay.
So yeah, this show might be a bit too unhinged for people.
Okay.
But it's fucking wild and it's really fast paced, and you will never ever be bored with
This
it.
is starting to sound like Devilman.
Not as sexual, but
Okay.
a
You
bit
just said pedophilic Santa.
a bit more violent.
A bit more violent? Okay.
Yeah.
Violence.
It kind of offsets its extreme edgy brutality with kind of cartoon goofiness. So there's you find a light balance there lah.
Okay.
So it's not ever too gross or it's not ever too happy.
Okay.
Padan depan.
No worries.
Yeah. But Christopher Maloney is fantastic. This is like a great second act for him after SVU because he hasn't really done much since Law and Order Special Victims. It's already been greenlit for season 2. Grant Morrison, specifically Grant Morrison, is actually co-show running this. So it stays true to his comic book.
Okay.
And he's very, very happy with it. Grant Morrison, for you, if you don't know, is
Extremely
not
difficult to please.
not easily pleased with his adaptations. So just the fact that he gives this his stamp of approval
That's a big deal.
is a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Grant Morrison, a legend in comics.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, I don't even know why you're listening to us right now. The second last thing I would recommend, this is a heavier recommend than The Ritual, or Happy, which I liked a lot. Happy is like a 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It's a show called Dark, a German science fiction, time travel, weirdness kind of film.
Stranger Things, but German.
Yeah. Although Stranger Things is kind of more of a surface level comparison because besides the period setting and the focus on children, there isn't really much similar. But it's a nice hook lah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
For Netflix audiences. This didn't come out in February. It came out in December, but it took me a while to catch up just because of how dense it is.
Okay.
And from what I saw, I generally liked it quite a bit. I personally enjoyed the addictive mystery and the neat causal time loops. I'm a bit sucker for time loops lah. And the way it did it was very, very logical and very neat, and I couldn't find any paradoxes in it, which was really great. But I was bothered by how characters behave less as people and more as like plot-driven puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
So there was never really enough space in the show for characters to experience real organic growth, because their decisions are so tightly mind mapped.
Yeah.
You know, they have to do this so that can happen.
Yeah.
If not, you know, blah, blah.
It's an interesting study in like causality, actually.
Correct,
The way
yeah.
that it's set up.
Even in writing, to be honest, actually lah.
Yeah.
Because I found like most of the shows that I enjoy or became stronger as they go on, the characters kind of evolve based on how the writers react to them over the course of the series, or how even fans react to them.
Yeah.
The malleability of it lah.
Yeah.
I mean, characters like Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad wasn't even supposed to be around,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
because he gave such an amazing performance, they wrote something for him. But with something like Dark, which takes place over 3 timelines, and in season 2 it takes place over 6 timelines,
Wow.
the causality is so intricate
Yeah.
that the characters just don't have room for any growth.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So they're very paper thin, and they're just plot-driven puzzle pieces.
Okay.
They're like this chess piece that I move here, then I move here, and then oh look, checkmate.
Okay.
So the show is fun to mind map in terms of paradoxes and figure out who is who in the family
Yeah.
tree,
Yeah.
but less compelling as a drama lah.
Okay.
And as much as I enjoyed season 1, the worry is that characterization might get even thinner in season 2 as writers are forced to focus more on their attention on the increasingly convoluted timelines lah. It's a hard buy for season 1. I will give it an 8 out of 10. But I'm very cautious as to where it will go from here.
Okay.
It is not an easy watch, though.
It's very dense.
Yeah.
I think I caught most of it or all of it.
I finished the whole thing, but it took me a good number of sittings just to get through.
Yes.
As interesting as it is, and again, like I love very neat time loops. I love this entire idea of causality, but like it's a puzzle.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, as a viewer, you're just trying to figure out that puzzle, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
And one of the downsides of that is it's weird to say this as a downside, but the show is actually very beautifully shot. It's very atmospheric, and he has a lot of great visuals.
But
Acting is also not bad.
okay,
But the issue is because you're trying to figure things out all the time, you're reading the subtitles too intently
you don't notice it.
to really focus on cinematography, to focus on expressions on actors' faces.
Okay.
So what I keep doing is I just keep like scrubbing back a few seconds, then reading the lines again, and then I'm just so it's like I'm reading a novel,
Yeah.
and doesn't make a show. I guess German viewers won't have
That problem.
that problem,
Yeah.
but being a non-German speaker, it's a huge problem for me.
Yeah.
Learn German.
Oh wow, I just watched Dark season 2.
Why not?
I mean, Dark is a great show. But yeah, I'm just cautious as to where it will go from
Okay.
here lah.
I understand why you're cautious.
Yeah, season 1 is fantastic though. I mean, like Hardy, if you got time, you should definitely
I will.
check it. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. It's the most highly recommended of all the 8 shows that
Okay.
that I'm kind of running through today.
Yeah, but I'm watching another German show. This Babylon Berlin.
Non sci-fi, which I also recommended.
Yeah,
to
you did.
And it's equally dense.
Yeah, it is.
So you're gonna be reading a lot of
German.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff coming out of Germany though.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Weirdly
right?
enough, yeah. Let's talk about the most interesting topic in quick hits.
Okay, what?
The Cloverfield Paradox.
Oh.
If that's not indication enough to you
Yeah, this is not coming
how
as
we
a...
feel about this movie,
Yeah.
This is not recommended.
let's talk about the circumstances surrounding it.
So the Cloverfield Paradox has been long in development, and I've personally been following the story of its development just because it's been so interesting.
Uh-huh.
Initially, a couple of writers, they wrote and made an independent film called The God Particle,
They did.
which was bought by Paramount and Bad Robot, which is J.J. Abrams' production house.
Yeah.
And when they bought the film, they decided to retrofit it into the Cloverfield universe. So they rewrote scenes, they reshot scenes, they brought back actors to reshoot, new lines. They stuffed in extraneous things that were totally unrelated to the movie to fit it into the Cloverfield universe.
Yeah.
And if that sounds messy, guess what it is?
It is.
And the first indication that this was going to be a failure was that Paramount initially scheduled this for release in April.
Yeah.
They were going to do a huge marketing push behind it, but then on Super Bowl day, they dropped the trailer for Cloverfield Paradox, saying that it's out on Netflix today.
Yeah.
And in a nearly unprecedented move, Paramount sold the Cloverfield Paradox to Netflix for cheap.
Yeah.
Because I suspect they knew that this was a
They knew it
mess
was gonna
and
fuck
it was
up.
going to die a slow death at the box office.
Yeah.
And true enough, the movie was a mess.
It was.
It was predictable. It was badly written, badly acted, badly shot, badly everything. I don't know if any of you guys have caught it, but what do you guys think?
I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, I'm done.
I got to 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I watched the whole 1 hour 25.
Yeah, because you got more stomach for this sort of thing than me.
No, but I mean, like, why? What kept you there?
Yeah, what kept you there?
I was intrigued to see what kind of connections they could make, being a completist to the
Yeah.
other Cloverfield films.
And
Yeah.
what was it?
There were quite a bit. I mean, the
Were those like done in the reshoots or?
yes,
Oh.
it's clearly not part of the God Particle. The God Particle is an entirely different movie
Right.
that they stuffed other Cloverfield scenes into. And they are trying to reverse engineer a film, and yeah, that ended up being a failure,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, because it's just not a way you
It's
should
not
make.
organic, you know?
It's not the real creative
It's
process.
a fucking Frankenstein kind of monster thing.
It
going
is,
on.
yeah. And it disappointed me a lot because I really, really liked the last Cloverfield movie, 10 Cloverfield
10
Lane,
Cloverfield.
which was a really taut and tight and tense chamber horror,
Yeah.
featuring Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
And the big
basically.
guy.
And the big guy, John
What's his
Goodman.
Nah, John Goodman.
Yeah, so that was a great horror movie. The first Cloverfield was interesting.
I mean, there was the shaky cam, the whole handheld cam thing that was going on.
Yeah,
Vampire not seeing the.
And you don't see the monster until the end.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Weirdly enough, you see more of the monster in Cloverfield Paradox than you see in Cloverfield itself.
Really?
Yeah,
But it's not
it's in
as
the
good
last
as the
scene.
movie.
Oh, right.
So there were a lot of
not interested.
there were a lot of predictable things. Basically, the premise is the world's energy resources are running out,
Mhm.
and countries are coming into conflict for natural resources lah.
Yep.
So this Cloverfield Paradox thing is a mumbo jumbo science experiment set up in space, so they can have an unlimited supply of energy. But somehow they open up doorways to alternate dimensions,
Yeah.
so things get transported here and there.
Yeah.
So these monsters from other dimensions appear on our dimension.
Yeah.
Like this, I just want to watch Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only interesting thing about this is it doesn't just open up dimensional voids in space, but also in time.
In time.
So they can appear in like 1940s or the 1970s or in the far future.
Okay.
Right.
And different people from each dimensions are swapped over as
There
well.
is like a potential for this to be good. actually.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
the premise sounds interesting.
Premise sounds interesting.
Because the next Cloverfield movie is set in World War II.
Oh.
Which I guess they explain how the monsters ended up in the
in World War
1940s.
II,
lah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, see, premise is interesting.
Premise is interesting.
You have a fucking stellar cast,
Exactly.
right? You have David, I can't pronounce his name, Oyelowo.
Yeah, you
Right.
got Daniel Bruhl,
You got Daniel Wu.
who's actually a really good character actor. You may remember him from Civil War. It's probably his most famous role.
Yep.
He's the villain in Civil War.
Yeah.
All the actors are really good, to be honest.
Will the next movie be written specifically as a Cloverfield movie?
No, the next movie is called Overkill. Well, at least the movie that they bought is called Overkill. I don't know what it's going to
So
be called now.
they bought it and they're again
It's going to
doctoring
be called Cloverfield
Overkill.
Overkill.
Oh,
That is. Yeah.
Overkill Cloverfield.
yeah, so Overkill is, weirdly enough, a horror movie set during World War II, which is an interesting premise.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams bought it and is going to has already retrofitted it. In fact, the movie is in post-production right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay lah.
Is this going to become a trend? This retrofitting thing?
For now, I mean for this, I don't think it's a trend for in general.
Maybe that's for Bad
Okay.
Robot.
Yeah, just for Bad Robot.
I think, okay, what's interesting is, not really retrofits anymore, right? But the fact that so many of the MCU, the DCU, Star Wars, for example, after they go through that, the amount of reshoots that have been happening in recent cinema history
Yep.
has been staggering, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, reshoots are nothing new for blockbuster films. Reshoots
sure.
happen all the time. They're even written into their contracts.
Yeah.
So that in itself is not indicative that it's going to be a bad film, lah.
Yeah.
Reshoots just happen, you know.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand with this whole retrofit thing.
Yeah. The bigger issue isn't so much the reshoots, but the changing in direction.
Right.
Because let's say, I guess Justice League is a good example of this.
Yeah.
Of Zack Snyder being taken off, either due to personal tragedy or, as recent reports have surfaced, that he was actually fired and they used the tragedy as a
Marketing.
just a PR thing. So it's things like that lah. Reshoots itself is not inherently bad, but it's when they decide to course correct and be reactionary that's a DCU trait lah.
Yeah.
They've done it all the time, and they continue to do it till this day. It's weird.
Interesting though.
Yeah, but the Cloverfield Paradox is a solid 3 out of 10.
A solid 3. Well, it's better than Winchester.
Yeah.
Which is 0.
Which
Yeah.
is 0.
Yeah, if I could rate something negative, I
Maybe
would.
Winchester?
Yeah. So, of all the things to really avoid, is Winchester and Mute. The Cloverfield Paradox is semi-interesting because of its connections.
Yeah, to a bigger universe, I guess.
Yeah, that's about it. If you want to be completist about it.
And if you like the actors who appear on it, then I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we'll be talking about The Tick. You've seen The Tick, right, Hadi?
There's like few episodes. I really enjoyed this reiteration
Mm-hmm.
of The Tick. I thought the main actor, what's his name? The Tick.
Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, the last guy did a good job too.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
I forgot his name.
The
Yeah, I can't remember his
big
name.
American guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's not Rob Riggle.
He
looks like
he
Rob-
looks
I
like
I was
Rob
about to
right?
say that. Oh,
Yeah,
That's what I was like. It's not Rob Riggle, it's the other guy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He was never mind. Anyway, yeah. So I really enjoyed this current Tick's run lah, so
Mhm.
far. I only watched 3 episodes in a long time ago.
They just confirmed
A season.
another
Season 2
Yeah.
for 2019.
Yeah, I mean, well deserved, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the characteristics you got from the comics
Mm-hmm.
or the animation.
Patrick Warburton, I'm sorry, is
Yes,
Ah,
Warburton,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt there was a very good sorry, there's so many here. Continuation of the story lah.
Mm.
It's a I felt it was very faithful, and yeah, it's a good twist lah. It's a good continuation lah to everything that has been done on The Tick lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ben Edlund is the creator of The Tick.
Mhm.
He's done several iterations of The Tick over 30 years. He first
Yeah.
invented the character in high school over 30 years ago.
It felt like okay.
And it's gone through many different variations. First, it started as a comic book.
Yeah.
Then it became a cartoon.
Yeah.
Then it became a live action series with Patrick
wow.
Warburton.
Yeah.
And then it became a new live action series
Yeah.
in Amazon.
Which
Yeah.
is amazing, right?
Yeah, and I feel like actually like each particular iteration of The Tick has parodied or has smart meta commentary on the particular zeitgeist at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, like for example, the cartoon kind of spoofed other Saturday morning cartoons or
Yep.
superheroes of that ilk.
Mhm.
But this particular Tick kind of satirizes the grim and gritty reboots
Yeah.
that is the trend today.
More of the DCU lah.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all of that.
It's still a savvy spoof and a hilarious
It is.
meta commentary
Yeah.
of superheroes in pop culture, but although it's making fun of how deep and dark the new reboots like to go,
Yeah.
its own depth and darkness is actually very compelling in itself.
Right.
So it's not just making fun of it, but it's also a homage to it because it does what it's spoofing better than what it's spoofing.
So is there really a homage?
It's I think of it as like Cabin in the Woods,
Yeah.
where it kind of pokes fun at the tropes of horror, while still being a love letter to the
horror.
genre,
Yeah.
and at the same time doing that genre better than the things it's
I
mocking.
get that feeling too when I watch The Tick.
Yeah, a lot of fantastic stuff in the new Tick. One of the interesting things is that it doesn't really focus on the Tick. The main character is Arthur, and for the first half of season 1, you kind of think that the Tick is a figment of his imagination. Eventually, it's proven that the Tick is real, but by the time that reality hits, the reality is there to kill you because the villains are here, the terror and all of that. The villains are all really funny.
Yeah.
The standout character. Oh, actually, before I go on, like I do need to like emphasize that like this is still the Tick season 1.
Okay.
The Tick season 1
was split.
was split into 2 parts.
Yeah, 2 parts.
Amazon made the unusual decision to split season 1 into 2017.
Yeah.
The first 6 episodes,
And then after
and
that,
2018 the next 6 episodes. I actually kind of enjoyed the break. And since season 2 won't be out until 2019, I like these little chunks of the Tick, so I won't go 2 full years about the Tick.
Yeah, I agree. One thing, I mean, to nothing to do with the Tick, but to do with why Amazon did that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, look at The Walking Dead, right? I mean, AMC also did. They also have very long mid-season breaks that can last for a few months. It does give you a mental like rest time.
Yeah.
Before you continue on, watching the second half.
Yeah. The Tick actually surprisingly, it's it's surrealist and it does slapstick a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also it's surprisingly emotionally poignant.
It is, yeah.
Weirdly enough, the character development from everyone, from Overkill, who is kind of a Deathstroke ripoff slash satire.
Yeah.
And the Tick is obviously just a satire of general superheroes. The Superior, who is the Superman satire, and all of that. Even the villains are given good character arcs as well. My favorite aspect of the second half of the Tick. Do you mind me spoiling it?
Spoil it, it's fine.
Yeah, just a real minor spoiler.
Go ahead.
Overkill has a sentient boat called Danger Boat.
I saw even that is funny.
Yeah. So the sentient boat has a personality, and the sentient boat identifies as male.
Oh shit.
And it turns out the boat is homosexual and is in love with Arthur.
Oh.
So Danger Boat's awkward crush on Arthur is actually one of the most
compelling,
delightful aspects of the Tick, and one of the newer aspects of the Tick, because Danger Boat is a new character.
Okay.
And I've never seen homosexual relationships expressed in this way. I mean, with a sentient boat.
Yeah.
And because Arthur is so frequently inside the boat, it's really weird. That in itself, like, just the idea of that makes you laugh, right? But then just wait until you see it plays out.
Okay.
It's actually quite amazing. And now we're shifting on to our monthly edition of the poll list.
And this month we have
Isafong.
Yes, so
what's your pull list?
Poll list is where we recommend reading material for you guys.
Pull list. I realize when I say it really fast, it sounds like police.
Right. So going with the theme of Afrofuturism and Black Panther, right? I am going to recommend a trilogy of books by Alastair Reynolds, who is currently one of my favorite sci-fi authors.
Okay.
So a bit of background about Reynolds. He used to be an astronomer and astrophysicist, and he was writing novels at the same time, but then he left science to kind of write full time. So I'm going to recommend the the Poseidon's Children trilogy, which is Blue Remembered Earth, which came out in 2012, On the Steel Breeze, which came out the year after, and most recently Poseidon's Wake, which came out in 2015. These three books trace the family members of a spacefaring African family in a future whereby Africa is the dominant scientific and cultural leader in the galaxy.
Wakanda in space.
Yes, exactly,
Wakanda
right? So
space.
I just thought that would be a nice tie-in for someone who wants to kind of see what Black excellence looks like in the far future, right? So all three books function great as standalone. There are some tenuous links. All the protagonists are all inheritors of the same legacy across time, and he does have a great deal of world building, which explains the rise of Africa and the ecological disaster that befalls Earth, and how that leads to the rise of Africa and China, who is the kind of like the other half of the story, right? And interestingly, the rise of a seafaring part of humanity. So there's a part of humanity that basically genetically modifies themselves to live underwater.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they take on forms like whales, and you have sentient whales and sentient sharks, and all these very marine-like things. So shout out to Shape of Water.
Yeah.
So a lot of things kind of like tying with what we've been discussing over the podcast.
Yeah.
It's really, really good, and I think like this might be one of at least one of the first few I've read Afrocentric sci-fi novels that I've been really, really enraptured by. Generally, I really like what Reynolds has done. So he writes everything within the same universe. It's called the Revelation Space Universe, which was his first novel. And all his stories take place in that particular universe. But yeah, so highly recommended. Go check out Alastair Reynolds, Blue Remembered Earth, On the Steel Breeze, and Poseidon's Wake. You can read them, on their own, but I recommend them reading them in order, in sequence. And
is it necessary? Is it like sequential?
there's a lot of time jumps actually.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
So they do revisit things because like they have the technology to kind of like digitally upload yourself and all of that.
Alright.
Altered carbon.
Okay.
But in this particular case, I feel like what I really like about Reynolds is that he doesn't skimp on heavy political themes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, as far as the impact that it goes and how technology has basically changed what we would believe our future looks like. Right? So it's
okay.
extremely compelling. Characters are very, very well written out.
I see that.
And it's very interesting to kind of trace the legacy of a character that you read in the first book all the way through all three books and how that kind of like how that functions. It's a very neat trick that he consistently does throughout all his books.
Yeah.
So these references back, which eventually have a great impact upon where the current story is going. So yes, Lester Reynolds, one of my favorite sci-fi authors, and his take on what an Afrofuturistic world or galaxy would look like.
Nice. I'm going to
Interesting.
catch this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to read this catch.
Well, you
marks,
could
huh?
catch the book, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, since we're on the theme of like Afro, like, can I just like
Sure.
select one like comic book?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I've been reading this like Dark Horse comic called Incognito, Renaissance.
Oh, I've heard about this,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Really great. Like it tells the story of how like a young mixed race journalist struggles with issues of identity and acceptance in 1920s Harlem,
What?
specifically the Harlem Renaissance lah.
Okay,
So
okay.
it doesn't just have a great setting of like the great Harlem poets and writers and musicians of that time, but also issues of like biracial issues. You know, how this man who can pass off as white fits in or cannot fit in either world. You know.
Yeah.
It's neither it doesn't feel at home in any of them lah. And it's also an absorbing murder mystery. This particular comic, it takes place he comes to New York, and he's originally from Mississippi.
Okay.
So he's invited to this party, but when a black guest suddenly turns up dead of an apparent suicide, but authorities show up to the scene to shut the gathering down but have zero interest in investigating whether the death may be a homicide because the man is black.
Okay.
They just don't care lah. Realizing that his ability to pass for white and willingness to do work that others won't, it allows him to dig deeper into the potential crime.
Okay.
So, in a sense, being able to pass for white is his superpower
Yeah.
because it gives him privilege.
Yeah.
Ah.
And that's where I find this to be like really interesting lah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so pick it up. It's on Dark Horse Comics right now. It's written by Matt Johnson, who himself is a biracial man. So a lot of his themes, he wasn't in the 1920s Harlem Renaissance. He wasn't investigating a murder mystery lah. But the themes of being unable to reconcile your identity with both races,
Okay.
and the unwillingness of either race to accept you as a person, is something that's very near and dear to him lah. And he
Alright.
expresses that very truthfully.
Okay.
Yeah. This is it, I guess,
Yeah.
for the March episode.
What? We're done?
Yeah, we're done.
Damn.
We'll be back on April 1st, not April Fools.
Yeah.
But we'll be back on April 1st with a new episode of the Genre Equality Podcast. It'll be our 4th one.
Yep.
We'll be talking about the 80th anniversary of Superman,
Yeah.
the OG of superheroes.
What else will we be
It's
talking
gonna be a
about?
big deal. We all will be reviewing Jessica Jones.
We will.
Season 2 is coming out. Shouts out to them because every episode of Season 2 was written and directed by a woman.
Yep.
Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg's jump back into
That
genre.
looks interesting as hell.
Yeah, I'll be recapping or reviewing the X-Files, which has had quite a tremendous revival
We will
season.
be doing that together, I guess.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the 100th episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which
Yeah,
is one
we-
of our favorite shows.
Yes. So, for the past 2 years, I think.
Yeah, we'll also be talking about other stuff like A Wrinkle in Time,
Yeah.
Annihilation,
Mhm.
a little zombie movie called The Cured,
Oh.
and maybe Tomb Raider if it's good.
Oh, it's bad. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna review it anyway.
Yeah. So we have plenty of stuff to talk
It's
about.
Vikander. There's no way that I'm not gonna review that.
Yeah.
At the
I love
same time,
Weekend.
video game adaptations have
I know.
traditionally been
Bad. There's
Bad,
never been a
yeah.
good video game movie ever.
indeed.
But it's based on my favorite Tomb Raider game though.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no promises, but I might be reviewing an audio play called Wolverine: The Long Night,
Oh, I wanna do that too.
which is basically a true detective but with Wolverine.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's try to do that.
Let's try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's available online.
Through legal means, I'm not
Through
sure.
legal
where.
means as well on our audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Yeah,
Yes, correct. That's
But
the one.
it's available elsewhere too.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you know where to look.
Yeah. We won't spread the word. But just go and read it lah. You can find it
You
lah.
can find it.
Yeah.
Till next month, I'm Panther.
I'm Hardy.
Am I, sir?
We'll catch you soon. Bye.
Bye.